today, man? You doing good?
You know, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so like I've been up for
Wow.
5 hours. I mean, I
Wow.
just do. I go to bed early. I get up early. I love the mornings. It's my, I
Yeah.
ever I practiced and everything. You know,
One thing you must be missing right now, I believe I'm sitting here in Ireland, but where I usually am at this time of the year is Anaheim, California. You must
yeah, the NAMM show.
you must be missing it.
Well, yes and no. I mean, the NAMM show is like it's harder for me. It's just so many people in your face all the time. But you know, the NAMM show has been a tradition for what 45 years for me. You know, I've been going there. You know, representing musical instrument companies that I work with and all that. It's fun. Usually, boy, back in the old days, we used to party. Oh my God, it was me and Eddie Van Halen used to get it fucking terrorized the fucking NAMM show.
I
Oh,
was good.
Mike Landau and me. Back in the old days, before it became a real public thing, it was really fun. It was really only supposed to be for musical manufacturers who buy the gear.
Yeah.
Like they buy the gear, like Guitar Center would come and say, "I'll take 500 of these guitars or whatever," and you'd show up. There'd be jam sessions and be all this great stuff hanging out. A lot of everywhere was a bar, so we were always in trouble there. And those were crazier times. But and in the last years, it's been much more of a business sort of thing. I do like interviews, or what do they call it, panels and stuff like that.
Finally made it to Belfast about 3 years ago, and I think that was maybe only like your third or fourth show in Ireland. You hadn't done too many.
I love playing in Ireland. It was a great hang.
And how did you enjoy the tour? How was that 40 Trips tour for you?
Well, bittersweet because we knew it was coming to an end, and there was a lot of legal. It was hard. There were some people that didn't get along, and it started out great and ended poorly. Lawsuits and crazy shit, and so we put it.
Yeah.
Sad, but I don't have any bad feelings, but it was a bad experience. And then, so out of the dust, Joseph and I decided to do solo records. He was already working on his.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm going to do something. I got to do something that's different, you know? And I wanted to do do something like old school, like the way we used to make records, put a card up and go, okay, we're going to cut, let's run the track, let's run it for mistakes and cut. You know what I mean? And that's what we did. I mean, I picked a couple of cover songs to set the mood for the album. I wanted to make it like an early 70s record, but in 2020, like where everything was live, solos, everything was live. We'd run the track, we'd work out the bugs, talk about who's going to do what solo, and I'll point to you this, blah, blah, blah. No click tracks, no rehearsals, no demos, no nothing, no Pro Tool bullshit. Like making an old jazz record, but a rock version of that in the context of song. Instead of like a jam band record with songs. Well, we did, and we went in, and everything you heard was at the end of the take it sounded like the record with no vocals. And then the same day, after we got the take, I would do a few overdubs, double a guitar riff, or put acoustic guitar something on, and maybe a keyboard player want to do one other pass on something, and like that. And then I do the lead vocal. The fucking song was done, ready to mix. I did it in 8 days.
The one that I love is the title track.
So we got a video coming on that tomorrow. We make these videos for like no money in our house, like just for fun. Instead of a lyric video, or just pictures flying by or whatever. Well, the last one was like that, which was kind of cool. Like, as the music showed us in the studio having fun, but this is more like a psychedelic thing, because it was like my Pink Floyd ballad, it was me and Jeff Babco and Joe Williams.
Yeah.
And it was, my new girlfriend inspired the song. She brought the sun back into my lap. I've been single and sitting on the couch working for 10 years. I didn't have any love in my life. I thought maybe it would never happen again. This wonderful woman found me and saved my life.
Another one I really like is Along for the Ride, because it's really punchy. It's there to just kick you into the album.
I just wanted something to go, yeah. I didn't want people to think that I lost my rock and roll sense.
I also really enjoyed Serpent Soul, which is kind of funky.
My tribute to Little Feat. we wanted to just write something swampy. I mean, when was the last time you heard a groove like that? You know, I mean, nobody plays this shit. Fade outs have great jams in it. I left these long fades because everybody's playing some great shit. And I just thought, this is, you know, I made the record for me. It's a, you know, I didn't write it trying to write a hit single to sell 1 million records. You know, it was an artistic record. I wanted to see if I could do it. If you know, musicians like us should be able to do this. You know, nobody makes records live without click tracks and put it on the grid and Pro Tool it and auto tune it, and fix it, and move it, and cut and paste. And no, you just gotta fucking play. And when you hear at the end of it, when you play it back, that's what it sounds like.
The only one that I don't want to say that I would have known it was live, but it sounds like it had to be live. Was the closing track "Bridge of Sighs"?
Totally live. At the end of that, all I did was overdub a lead vocal. That's it. That's the record. Most of the album was like that. Joseph Williams did do a few backgrounds on a few things. He took it home and layered a couple of backgrounds on a few things. But other than that, it was all just the record. That's it. Done. The whole thing was done 16 days, top to bottom.
Obviously, Joseph's involved in your album, but are you involved in his as well?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, we were both knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the idea. The old Toto was done in October of 2019. We worked together, and he was already working on his record. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I said, well, I want to do something completely different than I've ever done. I want to do more of a live record, really play, make myself play.
I wanted to ask a little bit. I mean, we were talking about NAMM at the start, and obviously, I love hearing about recording this stuff live and everything. What sort of gear are you using? What you've obviously got your own signature guitars. What amps are you using? What do you got?
Well, I used the one guitar. And this guitar. This is the whole record. This guitar. Music Man. Granted with the new pickups and shit. And I used amp-wise, I used the Wagner Helios. And I had a couple stomp boxes on the floor, you know. Nothing tricky. Univibe, Jeff Coleman made a really cool distortion box, Rodenberg distortion unit, wah-wah pedal, a volume pedal, a couple of little delay units, you know. The very subtle shit. It's all stuff, you know, very, you know, I just use my live rig, you know, basically. I wanted to do it, approach it as if it was like I said, like an old jazz record. Where the guys show up and play. That's the take, you know, with the exception of the vocals, which I overdub, which is a very 70s way to do things, you know. I mean, look at those old Beatle records, man. Those guys played together. You know, that's what it sounded like when they played together. And I mean, we did all the old Toto shit. Kid, as we told, you guys are slick studio musicians. Well, that's what we sounded like when we sat in a room and played, man, you know? Sorry if that bothers you, but that's what, you know, we were trained musicians, you know, we tried to be good.
Funny you should say to me when you're playing the solos and stuff, and it's like, oh, you make the mistakes, or it's like, Steve Lukather doesn't make mistakes.
Yes, I do. Really bad ones, too. And,
really?
Well, you know, the thing is about mistakes. Everybody makes it. If you listen to old jazz records, you'll hear Miles Davis squeak on the fucking, you'll hear Coltrane squeak on the sax, but it's in the heat of the moment. So I wanted to keep some of those rough edges on my record. So as I did, there's a couple of things that are like I normally would have fixed, or that's a little sharp, or that's a little rough. You know, I go, but I left it because it's real. I'm rough. Look at me. I'm fucking 63 years old. You know, the hair's real. The hair's real, but the color, okay, I'll give you. You know, I mean, but, you know, it's getting gray. You know, I mean, it's like, you know.
I'm a guitar player, and I learned a lot of solos, and I sat down to do Hold the Line. Tried it for about 3 or 4 hours and went, no.
I was 19 when I did that. And I had like Jim Keltner and all these guys staring at me through the glass. And I was nervous as fuck. I was just on the fly, and except for the harmony part at the end, which was definitely an ode to Queen in Boston. You know?
I found it.
He goes, I want that Queen shit, man. Give me the harmonies and stuff. I go, well, I got to put this first. He goes, well, I love the solo, but I want the end to have one of those big guitar harmony things. Did the solo in one take, but that I fucked something up at the end, and they go, well, we want you to do this big bit here at the end anyway. So we composed the very last lick. but it was based on a mistake. Speaking of mistakes, very last lick, I fucked up something. So I said, "Fuck!" And they said, "No, it's good. It's a great solo, except for the last lick. But we want to do the big harmony thing. So come up with a lick that." So I said, "Give me a minute." So I worked something out with Paige.
Yeah.
And then we started adding all the harmonies and doubling and tripling and shit like that. So it had this huge fucking ending.
Even the bend. I mean, you must use really light strings because you seem to bend that up like 2 steps or something. 9, yeah.
I like the wide bend. Yeah. The minor third bends and shit like that. I mean, like I said, it was 100 years ago for me. You know, I mean, I've heard it obviously, but you know, I mean, I don't dwell on it. I just kind of. It reminds me of a real happy time in my life. It was our first hit record, and I was really bad. Like I was just becoming a session guy, real session guy, and it was our first album. My whole career was taken off. It was a wonderful time in my life, you know. So maybe I look at it like that as opposed to the technical side of it.
I love the song "Don't Chain My Heart."
Cool.
Talk to me a little bit about that song, if you would.
Well, that was we just came up with this tune, man. We were jamming, and it was basically cut live. You know, all that was, you know, all those rhythm tracks were live. All that playing, that solo, like the bluesy shit, that was all done live on the tracking tape.
Whenever the trying to run, trying to hide, that vocal comes in, and those chords like punch you in the face. Those local airs, or what's going on there?
No, not at all. Actually, it was just I had my Bradshaw rig at the time. I think that was the VHT power amp and the custom audio electronics 3+3 power amp or preamp. I mean, which was a great sound. It was just one of the eras, one of the sounds of, you know. I'm always trying to find something, you know, trying to find something new. You know, I don't think I layered that at all. Matter of fact, I may have doubled it. Probably did double.
That comes from the Kingdom of Desire album, and obviously that was a really tough time with Jeff Porcaro's death. Talk to me a little about that.
Terrible time. It was a terrible time. You know, 30 years ago. Can you believe that?
Wow.
This year, 30 years. 21. It came out in 19. We recorded it in 1991. It came out in 92. We did the tour. Jeff passed away right after we finished it. And he was there up to the final mixes, and then we were going to get ready to rehearse the tour, and that's when he died. And that's when we were like, "What the fuck are we going to do?" And we decided to carry on with Simon. And you know, and it was, you know, part of me never really got past that. You know, I mean, it's still a shock for me.
Yeah.
And then Mike too. I mean, what are the odds of that? You know, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, our band has taken so much shit and also been through so much shit that I think at this point, after almost 45 years, they should give us a pass and be nice to us now.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, they've been giving us shit for 45 years almost, man.
Yeah,
I mean, we're really still the worst band in the world, really, you know?
You probably get asked about this stuff all the time, but I couldn't not talk about it. The fact that Toto, also that you contributed hugely to the Thriller album, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask specifically about the song number 1, about Beat It, and playing that riff. And were you a bit kind of bummed out because you didn't get to do the solo on it?
No, the solo was already done.
So the solo was done?
No, the lead vocal in the solo was done because there was another version of Beat It.
Okay.
And when Ed and whoever his engineer was at the time cut the tape, 2-inch tape, they cut the SMPTE code, which locks the tape back up again. Well, if you do that, they don't lock up again. So they had a master reel with the lead vocal, Eddie solo, and Michael Jackson going 2 and full, and bah, bah, on a drum case, and bleed through from Michael's lead vocal, headphones. So Jeff Porcaro had to put a click track together. Quincy called me and Jeff and said, "You got to put this record back together." Ed cut the tape, and I don't want to lose my master lead vocal comp and first generation that I spent, you know, gazillion years being 5-track, you know, 50 tracks of Michael Jackson vocals together, and Eddie's first generation solo. So we had to make the record around that to them. So Jeff Carl went out and made a click track with his drumsticks. He played the drum part, and then I played the guitar riffs and the bass. I put the bass on there too. And then the first time I put it through, I quadrupled it with Marshalls and all this. And it's great, but it's too much. It's too heavy. I got to be able to get this on you know, R&B radio and pop radio, blah blah. Use your little amp and turn it down a little bit. Yeah. So I came back. Well, I figured because Eddie's on it, I'm like, let's go for it, you know. Yeah. And Ed was one of my closest buds. You know, I'm still fucked up.
I wanted to ask you about that, how his passing has affected you. I'm guessing, obviously, you knew he was ill for a while, and you were one of those people that had to keep that quiet, etc.
Well, you know, I mean, we were friends for over 40 years. I mean, we weren't just guitar player buddies. I mean, like, we went through all life together. Marriage, divorce, kids, the whole thing, you know, addiction. We went through all of it together. And I fucking loved him. It just broke my heart. Yeah, we knew he was sick, but you know, he was also beat it 100 times. You know what I mean? Strong motherfucker.
Yeah.
Only when it finally lets loose and spreads all over your body, you have no control of it. And it happens real fast.
Yeah.
Fighting, and it finally just took him off.
You mentioned there that you sang backup vocals on some Van Halen. Because I never knew that. Do you know what it was? Can you tell me?
Oh, I was on the Fuck record. Drive up to the studio, and I knew they were working. I just walk in with the kids, you know, kids that play with Wolf or something like that, or they'd just be running around the studio or whatever, and I'd be hanging out with Ed and the guys, you know. And they'd say, hey man, we need a third voice. Lukather, get in there. We need a third voice. I go, okay, I'll do it, you know. And I go out and we double it, and then fucking I left. You know, it wasn't like I was like, it was just because I was there. You know,
I was reading through something that said that there's a film about Toto in the works. Now, I don't know if that's still the case.
There's never going to be a film on Toto. Too much bad blood in certain areas, and litigation and legal. I am doing a documentary. I'm working on one now. I mean, we were working on it last year, but like, you know, fucking COVID kicked in, and my director's stuck in the UK and can't come over here. So Sony was backing it, and I had Slash and Ringo and fucking all kinds of crazy people in it. My child, my family, we were just starting to get into it. It was really getting interesting, and then we had to stop. So until people can travel again and we can actually be together in the same room, it's on hold.
So what is that, like a kind of concert?
That's going to be the closest thing you're ever going to get to it, because people are dead, or people are not speaking. People, I mean, the people that are, I mean, Joseph and David Bates and everybody are in mine. I mean, I'm still talking. You know, Bobby and I are cool, man. He's got dementia. He's not doing well. He's mentally not right. I mean, he's 10 years older than me, so he's like 74 years. He's 73 years old, 74 now.
You must be glad then that I got to see you guys. I saw you playing in London in 2002, I think, through the Looking Glass era. Bobby was part of the band. It must be nice that you got to do that lineup.
Well, the thing is, Bobby, when he was singing great, he was great. But when it was bad, it was really bad. You know, like he couldn't hear, he couldn't find the pitch, and he's singing out of tune. It would just be like, oh God, man, this is bad. And he didn't realize it, and it just got weird. You know, I mean, and it all fell apart again. I mean, this band has been, you know, I've kept this thing together when it had no wheels on it. You know, that's why I can't give up on it. That's why I put a new Toto together, the Dogs of Oz. Out of the flames of fire and ashes come the new version. We did a quick live stream and proved it. It got spot from Snarky Puppy playing drums, and John Pierce from Huey Lewis's band, my oldest friend in the world, studio guy. And, you know, we found some other guys, and then we have X and Warren left over from the other band, and we got new Toto.
Just finally then, before I let you go, I have to ask, I mean, you've probably been asked this a million times too, but I mean, you've worked alongside, you know, some of the greatest musicians in the world. And, you know, you've been on Thriller, you've been, you know, you drop in and do backing vocals on Van Halen when you're taking the kids to school. Is there anyone on your list that I haven't worked with and I'd love to?
Steve Winwood. You know,
Yeah.
that's why I covered one of his songs. You know, I mean, Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, Steely Dan. You know, I mean, even though I've worked individually with them, I never got to play on a Steely Dan record. You know, never. Right up there, they were one of the most important groups in my life. So they're like the Beatles in the '70s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Steely Dan. I mean, it was the Beatles, and then everything that followed. And then when I got into Steely Dan, Jeff Porcaro was in Steely Dan when I was in high school with Steve Porcaro's band. You know?
Yeah.
Me and Mike Landau were the guitar player in high school. John Pierce was on bass. And now he's in the band. So, you know, Mike, obviously, you know, has gone on to his brilliant career. You know, he's one of the finest guitar players I've ever heard in my life. You know? Wow. We've known each other since we were 12 years old. So, I mean, you know, it's been a wild ride, man. That's all I can. I mean, there's a few people. The thing is, I've gotten a chance to work with so many people that were my heroes, still are, but now sometimes they're friends. I mean, I can't be mad at nothing. I've had an incredible ride.